All right, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Every day good.
So why in the world are you running for county commissioner?
Well,
Ed Campy.
Yeah. Well, Ed Campy really hasn't done the job for us. None of the county commissioners have done the job for us. They're all kind of in cahoots.
Fighting words. I like it.
Yeah, against the people, and that's the problem. So it's we the people that need to take the county back over because it's been overrun by multiple developers, and it's going to be a huge problem. It is already a huge problem. Just getting from my house to here, 35 minutes. It's
way too long.
Way too long. So I shouldn't, and I live in Palm City. Shouldn't take that long to get over here. So that's one of the big problems. And on my signs it says, I said, stop the growth, get to your destination faster. So that's what people want to do. They're tired of we don't want to be Port St. Lucie or St. Lucie County, where it takes an hour to get from one side of the county to the other. So we want our small county back is what we want. And that's one of the big reasons why I'm doing this. And so I also see a lot of corruption that's going on. Even PACs that are coming in, paying for, just saw, 2 days ago, actually, the amount of money, $37,000 has already gone to Doug Smith through various PACs and monies that keep him a 24-year politician. We should never have 24-year politicians. And for people who have never even had a real job, that's the guy we got as president right now, unfortunately. That's who we have up there at the White House, and we can see the job he's doing. So that's kind of the whole deal, is to try and make it so that we have our community and our county back. And I've got so many ideas to make that happen so that we can make it so it's very kid-friendly, because that's what I'm all about. I guess for people who don't know me, I am a father of 6 children.
Awesome. So
oldest child is a physician. Second one's in law school, St. John's. She got a full ride, but she's already a captain through Maritime Academy up in the Bronx. And she wants to end up being a maritime lawyer. And the third one, my son, he's the only boy of the 6 children. He's one boy. I got a little testosterone from so otherwise there's so much estrogen in the house, I can't tell you.
I got one boy too.
Yeah, so
3 girls.
Crazy. So, but anyway, he graduated West Point. He's now serving in Poland. So he's first lieutenant, and so he's in the military. So the number 4 is got a full ride to Bright Futures, a scholarship to UCF, and she wants to be a physical therapist like her father. So and then 5 and 6 there. The jury's still out with 5 and 6. So they're just turned 14 and 15. So. Are those little 5 and 6ers. So anyway, so it's really, for me, it's all about the kids. It's making it so that what we leave to them is not going to be this community that's going to be house, all built on top of each other. And it's not what we moved to Martin County for. I moved here in 2000, and it for sure wasn't close to the way it is now. But if we let this go another 2 or 4 years, we're really, really in trouble. So that's kind of the main reason why I'm running. So I wasn't going to jump back in. So back it up a little more. So
I saw that you ran against Marco Rubio.
Yes.
Okay.
In 2016, I ran against Murphy and Rubio for the U.S. Senate, but I ran as an NPA then because I was just getting my feet wet and I didn't know how to really run. So I wrote a book called Senator Who, so people could get to know who I am and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Could a regular person become a U.S. senator? And so that's how I started. And then when I got my feet wet, got a little traction, I said, okay, I really need to go on the Republican side because I am really conservative, and hopefully the Republicans will back me and help me out and to become governor. So, and this was even before Ron DeSantis announced that he was going to become governor. So there was talk in the wind that he was going to do it. But he never made a commitment because he was in the Congress. So that's why I decided to run for governor. Then I got a really nice team together. It was an all-volunteer team, and we paid no money for the people that were there. And so we made it so that we got some traction. But I had to go around the state. So for U.S. Senate, you got to go around the state and visit and see people. So for governor, you got to go around the state and visit and see people. So, and I had a full-time job and having my kids. So it took a long, long time to do all that stuff. So got a little more traction with working as becoming toward governor. But, always been a fan of Donald Trump. And I knew Donald Trump all the way back from 1980. So, but when he was a Democrat, because I worked for a gentleman who had 90 apartment buildings in the New York State area, and he kept telling me, I'm going to be exactly like Donald Trump. So I got to know who he was and what he was way before he was even thinking about politics. And so I said, okay. And so when I heard his name come up, obviously, for running for president, I said, he'll be a good president. And so so our whole team was kind of posturing ourselves to have him put the thumb on the scale for me as the governor. But in June of 2018, he put the thumb on the scale for Ron DeSantis, and that kind of blew a little hole in our balloon. So that made it so that we really didn't do very well after that. But that was okay. I kept on pushing, and because I never give up. I'm not ever a give up kind of guy. I keep going. In fact, I kept going through the primary, and I quickly switched my affiliation from Republican to NPA at that time, right after the primary, because there was no state statute that said if you're not an NPA and you've already paid the money to become for an elected official, that you can't go on the ballot as an NPA. So I went to court. I wrote motions. I went to court. So as a physical therapist, I got to learn the legal system. Mm-hmm. And so I went to court, and they saw it as an emergency motion. So within a week, I had 3 Division of Election Tallahassee lawyers against me, the lowly physical therapist. And so the judge heard the case, and she said, she says, you've got a point, and you've got the right to be able to switch, but it's too late. So because they'll never be able to get your name on all the ballots throughout all 67 counties. So that was it. So I filed an appeal, and the appeal ended up not being seen till after the election anyway. And the Tallahassee attorneys moved for dismissal. The appellate court said, yeah, it's dismissed because it's too late. So that's it. But I fight for what I think is right. And that's the whole idea. And that's why even when I ran for those 2 things, people said to me, how come you don't run for county commission first? And I said, because I'm not a politician. I'm a physical therapist. I've been practicing a very long time. Now it's 28 years I've been practicing. I've got solutions for people. I've seen thousands of people. I've gotten them healthy. All the thousands, I've seen them. I've found their solution, and no complaints, because there's complaints while you're a physical therapist. To get them better, you're a chiropractor.
Yes, sir. So
there's complaints. But they walk out of your office generally feeling better right away. Doesn't happen in PT. They walk out of our office kind of painful. And as you know, it takes a while before they might get better. So I said, it's going to take some time, but you're going to have to do your homework.
How would you diagnose the dysfunction in the county, and what would be your treatment protocol, as it were?
That's good.
To address it.
Okay. So the idea is that there's too much money being spent in the wrong places for this county. And so the diagnosis is, if you're going to have a budget that they have, which is a very large budget with $270 million in the hole, how do you make it so that you can, number one, reduce people's taxes, because that's what people want. Yep. That's the first thing we want.
Not raise them. Okay, for any reason. No half-cent tax up for whatever reason, even if it's for conserving land, because that's going to end up being a whitewash sooner or later to keep it, do more with something else with some other money for somewhere. It doesn't work like that. So one of the main things is to really make it so that we are going to bring the zoning laws back to where they were. And the reason why I brought up that I've been i.e. like straight zoning versus PUDs and these larger projects?
Correct.
Gotcha.
So when they made Martin County, they made it with certain zoning laws for certain reasons. They said that we have to keep, let's say Palm City Farms, where I live, 5 acres, 5 acres, 5 acres minimum. Okay, you can't, and all of what was at that time Palm City Farms was everything that was west of the Turnpike. So you're not supposed to really have anything less than 5 acres over there for any kind of housing for people, for farms. So, but now they've all of a sudden off of Citrus Grove, and now they see, they just renamed the road. It's is it Newfield Way? I think so. It's called Newfield Way.
What do you think about Newfield?
Oh, what a disaster! So
Pretty wild that got approved, right?
Yeah. So the 2,300 acres getting approved out there obviously makes it so that right there all by itself, there goes your 5 acres. Now you're having house, because they're going to build the houses. They say they're going to keep them big. They're going to make them 1 acre. They'll end up pulling it down.
They're putting something like 4,200 doors on that land.
Right.
So
It's going to be
you're looking at like 12 to 14,000 people
Yeah.
off of citrus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So and that was never supposed to happen. I mean, and everything that they've cleared and taken away. Let's not talk about the wild animals that were there and just killed. I mean, just randomly killed, because what are they going to do? So
It's a curious thing the way that was approved, because some percentage of that property is swamp. It's not buildable anyway. It's wetland, right?
right.
But they let them take the density that would have been there if it could be built and sandwich it on top of the other part that's buildable.
Right.
So you basically got double or triple the density on the buildable part,
Right.
where historically, if it's swamp, you can't build on it. You can't take the density from there and put it over there.
That's very true.
Very curious.
Yeah, well, it is, and then, but what do they do? They make it into those what are man-made lakes, basically, that absorb all the water. Okay, that make it so we won't flood now because we can build up around this, and we're going to make it into a man-made lake, and that's part of the issues and problems that we have of doing what they've done. So, and let's not even talk about, we will talk about this. Story, Florida, 2,700 acres. What
do you think about that?
Which they're trying to approve. Well, that's another disaster. So that's why I got to get in right now. And people say, well, but you're only, last forum where I was, they said, well, you're only going to be 1 out of the 4. Well, I'm going to
2 at least.
Well, 1 out of the 5. Excuse me. So it's going to be probably another person that's going to vote with me against this. Possibly, but the whole thing is to show the people exactly why those other commissioners are voting for it. What's going on really? What's going on in the back door?
What's going on really, man?
Right.
Tell me.
We don't know. Unfortunately, we don't know. But you put me there, I'll find out. Okay. I'm very good with looking at things, investigating things.
Diagnostic, yeah.
It is.
I'm the same way. I
right,
get it.
Right. So
that's what we do all day for work.
All day.
Is figure out what's going on and then fix it.
Right.
Address it directly.
Right. And if somebody comes into you and they say, well, I'm trying to blah, 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 you know what? No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not doing your job. And I'm very straightforward. I tell my patients straight out, you're not doing your home exercise program. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, then we're not going to get where we need to get with your body.
It's very seductive when you get in there to see, because there's like 2 different worlds. There's where most humans, we go to work, we do what we're supposed to do. But then in that government realm, it's this kind of bubble. And it has its own culture and its own way of operation. And it's very seductive to sort of get absorbed into that versus continue to have your philosophy and wrecking ball the bubble. It takes, you have to be pretty galvanized and not forget who you are. It's easy to get absorbed into that Borg.
For some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Not me.
Good.
Not me. So it's never been that way. So,
Good.
Look, when you've been, if you've worked in one job for 28 years as a physical therapist, if you've done what you've done and you've never had one complaint ever, okay, but the people that you've seen have thanked you on your way out the door when you last time you've seen them. So, and then they come back to you because something else happened to them somewhere down the road, orthopedically, of course, especially. So, and I did home care forever too. So sometimes we'd walk back in their door multiple times. So, and they don't say, well, I want a different therapist. They wanted me back to try and get them back in the state that they were. So that's my reasoning for becoming a county commissioner, because I'm going to put this county back in the state that it was. And I'll find every legal loophole in every contract, because there's always one or two, because nobody makes a foolproof contract. And I'll find those that made the zoning the way it is, and I'll bring it back. Now, can I bring back Newfield? It's going to be rough. Okay, there's going to be a lot of things in there, and I would have to do a lot of work and diligent work, and be talking with some attorney or attorneys to make sure that we could do what we would do. But for sure, Story, Florida, which isn't even started yet, can we stop that? Yes. The zoning that they're trying to do, where are they trying? Out in Stewart West in Cobblestone. They're trying to build a church out there. Okay. Nobody in Stewart West or Cobblestone wants this church right next to their housing where their houses are out there, with, I think they said 500 parking spot. They don't want that. That's not why they moved out there. So these are all things that are in developmental process, and there's a lot more than that. There's probably a litany. So it's going to be a lot of work to look it down each line. Why are they rezoning? No. Okay, we're not rezoning that. So we have to take it back.
There's a spectrum. In the old days, I think like Maggie Hirchala and that previous crew, they made you cross T's, dot I's. If it was wetland, no. It really had to make sense. And then there's sort of that middle ground where you're not really enforcing the zoning or the land use or making sure you're protecting wetland. You're kind of like neutral. But now we've moved into this kind of other end of the spectrum where we're making exceptions and making a way for more development, more density.
Right.
It's not even that we're neutral or really trying to make sure we're protecting and conserving our space. Now we're just kind of wide open.
Right.
Right. It's very interesting how it's evolved.
Yeah.
And it 100% comes down to who sits in those seats.
No doubt.
100%.
Right.
If you are confused at all, the philosophy of the people who are in those seats will dramatically change the ultimate products that get put on dirt. 100%.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who say yes or no.
Yep. Well, if the people who are running, so I'm running District 5, obviously, there's a District 3 and District 1. They're all up.
Ed Campy seat.
Ed Campy seat, okay.
Palm City.
Harold Jenkins, okay, and then Doug Smith. So all those seats are up for, be taken.
The boys.
So if those seats actually get taken, okay, by 3 new people, okay, so myself and 2 others that are going to be conservative and like our county the way it was, then we can start a consortium of going 3 new guys coming in against the 2 that are here, and make it so that it's going to
even
bring it
Stacy. I think you might be surprised. Stacy could swing. She could end up, if you even had 2, if it was like you and Sarah, you may find that Stacy ends up hanging. But even that one seat, each individual seat makes a huge difference in the tone of the overall commission.
Right.
Right.
And then so back to where it was with children. So if people don't know me, so I've got Nathan Family Farm and Rescue. Mm-hmm. So we've rescued now somewhere nearly 300 animals on our property. A lot of it's, and to get here at this time.
So you do an animal rescue?
Oh yeah, it's a farm animal rescue.
Huh.
Yeah, so we rescue farm animals. So we've taken sheep and goats and pigs basically off the plate of people, and we've been called from all the way in Okeechobee County for the pigs, through to people here who had goats. Someone in Port St. Lucie had sheep. So to because he was selling them out to somebody because he needed some money and they were selling the sheep to become dog food basically. So just that's not what God really intended for them to happen. And we've got over 240 chickens on our property.
That's awesome.
There's nobody wants the roosters. Nobody's allowed to have the roosters. And that's another thing. I'm gonna fight for getting the ability for people to have chickens in their yard again.
I was just talking to one commissioner about this, and I don't think they fully understand that it's very much a family thing, and teaching your kids is,
Yes.
They don't understand it. It just seems like this nuisance, but that's awesome.
Yes.
I'm with you on the chickens.
Yeah, not a nuisance. Roosters do get loud. There's no doubt about it. We have taken in roosters not only from people but from the Humane Society.
But you could totally allow only hens. I mean,
so absolutely could make it so it's hens, so it's females, and you could make it so it's 6. They need to flock, so they need to be together. Mm-hmm. So you can make it so that there's 6 of them, and you can limit 6 if you want to, so it doesn't come out of control. And it should be anywhere in the county. It should be any backyard, anybody who wants to raise them, and fresh eggs every day. So it's why not?
And kids having functional life skills and being exposed to the real world, even on a small scale. My generation, I'm 40. All we know is like video games and computer jobs and customer service, and nobody knows how to change a tire,
right?
or do anything practical.
Yeah.
All the boomers that change out your doors and windows and, you know, actually fix things are all retiring.
Right.
So you need a new generation of young people that are exposed to functional life skills.
And that's
chickens are a gateway
that's
into that kind of a thing.
That's
husbandry, animal husbandry, taking care of things.
No doubt. No
building
doubt.
a chicken coop.
Yep.
Stuff like that.
Yep.
Homeschool friendly.
That's exactly, well, that's a great segue into Palm City Farm Camp, which we also do in the summertime. So we're starting our 9-week stint in the beginning of June. We usually have 30 to 40 kids each week come, and they get to learn about animals and agriculture in Palm City Farm Camp. And we have usually anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 counselors that are there. And it goes from section to section, and they're unknowingly learning about, you know, what they're supposed to do. When the kids first come in, I see them first thing in the morning. I changed my schedule for my work to make it so I'm working from noon to 6 at the orthopedic clinic versus 10 to 4, so that I can stay there with the kids in the morning and be able to make sure that everything's going along on track. So the first thing I asked them, usually I said, who here wants to be either a veterinarian or a farmer? Okay, first thing when they come in, I might get a couple of hands raised in the beginning. Well, by the end of the week, by Friday, I ask the same question. I get at least a half. You know, if there was 30 there, I'll get at least 15. You know, that will raise their hands. They want to be either a farmer or a veterinarian. As you already know, I just posted this last night. You know, we're losing farmers in this country. So we're down to less than 1% of our country in farmland and farmers.
Yes.
So it was something like 2,000 acres a day that I read that we're losing in farmland, 2,000 a day. So and we need to stop that specifically in this county.
And so if you want to have some sense of replacing that, it's either backyard farms, you know, again to the chickens, if it's happening on a smaller scale, but
right,
you know, who's gonna grow your food?
Right.
If you keep converting ag land to houses.
That's it. So one of my big ideas also, okay, so it's Palm City Farm Camp, and you know, people should look that up, palmcityfarmcamp.com, and that'd be great for the kids to come. We're relatively inexpensive compared to other camps. It's a day camp, or we have extended day. So, but it's a great learning experience. They always have fun, and at the end of the day, they're very tired. They go to sleep. So parents love that. So
true, it's great.
So it's great. So, but the idea is to make it so that we can take not only our land back, but we need to make it so that the land can stay agriculture and functional. And one of my big ideas that I had when I was running for governor was to make it so that the land that's out there can actually formulate a productive crop. So I have the idea. I don't share it until I'm elected, but I have the idea that how this land and how this crop will keep us all functional and be able to reduce our taxes at the same time, and we'll be able to pay off our debt. So my version of it pays off.
What, are you trying to grow cannabis or something like that?
Not cannabis. So although we don't know what's going to happen in November 5th.
No debt.
November 5th could be a wild thing when they decide to make it recreational marijuana. That's going to be pretty crazy. But I'm not actually for that. But I think it's a little much. But little did I learn that 24 states have already made it recreational now. I think it's 24. So it's pretty.
The boomer class is very open to this.
Yeah.
That's where you get the drive for it.
Yeah. So, no, not there. But anyway, I can take the monies that's made from this industry. We can pay off at least half our debt in the first 4 years. So that's would be my first 4 years, is making it so we're gonna that $270 million that's there. They call that financial investment. It's what they call it on the big books, but it's debt. So we'll take that and cut that down to $135 million. Okay, because we are paying on this financial investment. Of course, we're paying interest. Nobody doesn't pay interest on that money. So, and I've never seen that for years. It was $267 million some years ago, but I guess the interest has kind of crept up and millions and millions and millions of dollars a year, and nobody's coming along to wipe off our debt unless we do it, and they're not going to do it. The county commissioners that are there right now are not even looking at that part to try.
You have to have a crew that's dedicated to spending less money,
correct,
and not being in debt. That really has to be the focus, or it's gonna run away.
Yeah,
because that's kind of the default for government, is to expand and spend more money and have more people on staff and more FRS. And if you don't have somebody focused on that, keeping that tighter, if your county administrator isn't, if your city manager, if whoever's driving the bus isn't really focused on running a tight ship,
Yeah.
it's going to expand.
Yeah.
That's the nature of it.
Right. So and with that, I don't know how much time I have left here. I talk a lot.
I think you got to go.
No,
man.
I got to go. I do
Yeah.
have to go. So last thing I want to say before I go is that I want to make this into a very kids-friendly county. And I don't think the kids have been pushed enough to know about government and know what we do here and know how government runs. And so I would have programs set up, specifically set up, and it's not going to come out of the government money. It would come out of my money. And I would make it so that we have programs specifically set up for kids to make it so they understand not only how the county commission works on one side, but how agriculture works on the other side, so that we can make sure that government and land become unified. And so we can make it so the kids understand this. That's the future, is the kids understanding where we need to go. And so that's a huge deal for me. Huge.
Awesome.
So when you have 6 kids, you only do these things because it's the next generation.
That's why I ran.
Yeah.
Is my kids.
Right.
You know.
So you want to make it better for them.
If you don't have kids, you enjoy the place like it is. If it's changing, you're not going to be around for that long.
Right.
But if you're looking at kids and maybe they have kids, like you gotta conserve and protect what's good about your place.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. So,
For sure.
all right. So I
Awesome.
hope to come back on
Yes.
again sometime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
After I paid the big money. So I'm actually paying my money to get on the ballot.
Yep.
So some people are doing petitions. I don't have time for petitions. I'm paying the big $4,800 it costs
It's
to get.
$4,800?
It's $4,800 to get on there.
Yeah, man.
And I'm doing it, and I'm not spending much more than that, except for basic. Hopefully, be here, maybe a Facebook ads like you were talking about prior, and things like that.
You're not going to be able to knock all the doors in time. So
Right.
getting your message out, people hearing, landing in their inbox or in their Facebook dashboard type, just be on their phone and let them see who you are.
Yep,
Best thing you can do.
that's
Awesome.
Great. All right,
Thank you for being
thank
here.
you, thank you for
Yes, sir.
appreciate it.
Nice.
Appreciate you spending the time with me.
Absolutely.